boomer shooter. What are they and why are they so important? Well, a boomer shooter just describes a certain type of FPS. As a genre is just a nickname, there aren't concrete rules, but most boomer shooters have the following qualities such as fast-paced movement, fast and aggressive gameplay, not being limited to inventory slots, having to collect color keys to progress, encouraging exploration through finding secrets. One thing to remember is not all retro shooters are boomer shooters, just like all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. For example, Duke Nukem is a boomer shooter and a retro shooter, but a game like System Shock is not a boomer shooter, but it is a retro shooter. Boomer shooters being the first real FPS you could play at home, that's pretty significant in the history of video games. In 1974, Maze Wars came out, which was considered to be the first FPS, and then in 1984, a decade later, Duck Hunt came out, and then the one and only Wolfenstein 3D in 1992. You might look at this shit and be like, this is not 3D, but very innovative for its time. Being able to play hundreds of first-person shooters now compared to back then, you really didn't have the plethora of choices. You mainly had games that was like platformers, think of fucking Sonic, Mario, Boogerman. And then a year later, in 1993, the biggest game in the genre came out, that being Doom. Everybody knows Doom. Everybody fucking knows, Doom Eternal, Doom 2016. This is like the poster child for this genre. The first year an FPS game would get the title of best-selling game would be none other than 1997 007 GoldenEye. Games like Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem, Ultra Kill, Redneck Rampage. Wait, what was that last one? All these games, funny enough, are the same genre and very similar. You take Doom, Ultra Kill, and Redneck Rampage, after stripping away all the demons and redneck, what you're left with is a game that's just the same main objective. Stay moving, stay shooting, and stay alive. The gameplay in these games are all fast, hectic, enemies laid out everywhere, and it's really just a reaction. You just gotta dodge a bunch of fucking bullets coming at you. Some games are easier than others. As for the story, throw that shit out the window, because story is not important. It's nice to have lore and world building in these games, but the main appeal of boomer shooters is the fucking gameplay, baby. It's the gameplay. Most time, but not all the time, it will be some demon or soldier or like mutant soldier standing in your way. Not all the times though. Dusk has very southern enemies. I'm from Georgia, and I've seen the red and black plaid combo with the overalls, and let me tell you, this fit fucking crushes pussy at the family reunion. The only match to this fit is probably the camo with all the Carhartt, but I digress. You also have Triple K Wizards and Wendigos. There are many boomer shooters, so if you like this genre or you want to get into this genre, you will always have something to play. Like, there is a shit ton of these games. The boomer shooter is very accessible to indie developers, which means they can just pump these fuckers out for pretty cheap, and in return, benefit the consumer, because let's be honest, everybody has those moments where they just sit at the fucking home screen and just fucking stare, and they're like, man, I ain't got shit to play, as they're looking at 800 gigabytes of fucking games downloaded to their console or PC. But, I digress. So, if you're bored as fuck, and you want to play a game that's, fast, easy to get into, play a boomer shooter. There's a shit ton, like I said. You'll find something you'll probably like. Doom, the face of the boomer shooter. With the older games pretty much being a blueprint from other boomer shooters, you fight through hordes of demon as the one and only DG, Doom Guy. You're on Mars, your government is doing some shady teleportation test, and eventually they open the gates to hell. And lo and behold, you're the guy that has to clean up the mess. Ultra Kill is just the phrase fuck around and find out shoved into a game. Made by Hakita, has all your normal shit a boomer shooter would have, but then adds a bunch of crazy cool shit, like you can punch your shotgun to make it explode, you can parry enemy bullets, you can throw a coin up, hit it with a rail gun, and then fucking chain the big ass laser. You can do a bunch of crazy shit. Slam storage makes you jump really fucking high. And it adds sliding, wall jump, like invincibility dashes and iframes. So it's like a boomer shooter had love with a movement shooter and had a cute little blood-hungry baby. Also, the secrets in this game, fucking top tier. Secret levels in this game, fucking top tier. Warhammer Boltgun is just a boomer shooter in the universe of Warhammer. Overall, it looks pretty nice. It's pixelated, looks pretty good. You have a chainsword, which pretty much can just hack and just murk right through enemies. Sometimes you will get damage taken, or you might die depending on how much health the enemy has, but it's pretty much like a one shot as you hold the trigger. If you like Warhammer and you're a fan of that franchise, you'll probably fucking love this game. If you're just a fan of boomer shooters and you're not a fan of the Warhammer franchise, you'll probably like this game and then stop playing it eventually. I don't know if it was just me, but I feel like there was a shit ton of enemies at random, like some parts of the game, you would just be fighting through like hordes and hordes and hordes of enemy. And I like, again, that might just be a Warhammer thing, but I'm not like a Warhammer fan, but I digress. The game also felt sometimes I would just get lost and I'm like, dude, I don't remember, like this shit kind of feels like a maze. It was the developer's first game, I believe, so it's not a terrible game or a bad game by any means, but the next game they release, if they make another one like this, I'm sure it will be top notch. Shrine is a fun little boomer shooter that was made to be like a Game Boy game. In Turbo Ultra Kill, you have a fucking chainsaw leg, so you can just slide through enemies and rip them apart. Robo Quest is like a boomer shooter with a little bit of roguelike, sprinkled in. You die, you restart, you unlock new abilities and guns and characters throughout playing, and it's pretty fun. I enjoyed this game. Duke Nukem was the Doom guy mixed with Johnny Bravo, so it was like a funny man in an ocean of serious main characters, so he stood out, with his little one-liners and on his search for babes. Quake was a very big deal. Doom might be the face and like poster child of this genre, but Quake set shit in motion that can never be undone. Quake was a very big deal when it came out in 1996. Using fully 3D models instead of sprites, a big leap from Doom, which was 2.5D, and the movement was a big fucking deal. Because it might seem normal nowadays, but Quake had shit like bunny hopping and the iconic rocket jumps, but most importantly, it had multiplayer. You could just get on a free server and just hop into a game. Nowadays, that shit's like, oh dude, an FPS that doesn't have multiplayer, what the fuck is this? Back then, this shit was revolutionary. Quake was one of the first games that had that, and my god, as you know, the FPS genre kept growing and growing. From boomer shooters to the humble military shooters like SOCOM, Medal of Honor, the old Call of Duty, into the tactical shooter like CSGO, shit like that. That's really the only one I know off the top of my head. And then the hero shooter, Team Fortress, Overwatch, anybody remember fucking Lawbreakers? And then to the Battle Royale. I think we're at the tail end of the Battle Royale craze. I'm not sure what the next big FPS genre is going to be, but only time will tell. But with Quake bringing multiplayer, that was a very, very big deal. Because as the saying goes, misery loves company.
The fuck was that?
If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, leave a comment, all that shit. If you didn't enjoy the video, subscribe. I'll try to do better next time, but no promises. Just want to say thanks for 100 subscribers. I appreciate everybody's time that takes the time to watch the video, whether they watch a majority of it or they just click out in like a minute and a half or faster. But again, thanks for everybody that takes the time out of their day to watch the video, comment, any of that shit. Hope everybody has a good day. Till next time.